Do not fear anything, for I am with you. Do not be afraid, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Be assured, I will help you.
Hello, everyone. On today's episode of Inspirations, I have a special guest that I'm going to be interviewing for the next couple of minutes. She's a young lady, but a dynamite, filled up with so many experiences and lessons of life. She's a lady that I've known for quite a number of years now, and I know the Lord has worked with her, and the Lord has dealt with her in so many ways, and she's learned so many lessons of life. She's come out stronger, and she's come out better. And I know our testimonies will inspire somebody out there today. Can you all join me in welcoming Dr. Precious Okunbor? Hello, Precious. Hi, how are you?
Good.
So nice to have you on the program today. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Just introduce yourself to everyone in the house. I'm very sure they want to know why you're special.
Where do I begin? So she introduced me earlier. My name is Precious, and I have a specific testimony in what God has brought me through on my journey towards getting into medical school and getting through medical school. And my journey has not been the straight and clear path, and there's been a lot of things along the way, a lot of obstacles along the way that God has helped me to overcome in big ways. And so I'm just here to share my story and encourage anyone who is in a situation where they're waiting on God for something.
What inspired you to study medicine?
There's always been an underlying interest in medicine. I mean, my memories go back as far as when I was 6 years old. Just an excitement about going into the hospital. I just thought that was such a fun place to be. I wanted to read all of the things that they had on the walls, and I go to the doctor's office and all of that. I asked my mother because I was like, what kind of 6-year-old runs around saying that she wants to be a doctor or a pediatrician specifically? That's what I would always say. And she said that I loved my pediatrician. She said that I had a great relationship with him. And so that's where everything started. In terms of my interest in, the study of the human body, that I believe really came from my experience with seeing my father's battle with cancer. I lost my father to cancer when I was 7. And for years I was told that he was just sick. And I just remember always being so curious about what kind of sickness could claim my father's life. And so I think just from then on, I just wanted to know everything about my body. I wanted to know, all of the different diseases out there, and, how to cure a sickness. And I think that's just where everything really began for me.
Wow, that's a very deep inspiration. When I actually told you all out there that Dr. Precious, even though she's young, she's filled up with so much experiences and lessons of life. So I know in humans' lives, like in our minds, we have life well structured. But like I go to undergrad, after undergrad, I'll take my MCAT, I'll go to medical school, and then from there I'll start my residency, just like that. We're like so calculated in our minds. We're like, 8 years, that's all it takes me to study medicine. But it didn't work just like that for you. Did you just wake up one day and it's like, straight into medical school? Just walk us through that journey of your life.
Quite a long journey. I graduated from high school in 2008, and I'm graduating medical school now in 2020. So
wow, that's about 12 years.
Yes.
Wow.
So it wasn't that straight, cookie cutter path. I went to undergrad at Pace University. I went in knowing that I would be pre-med. Went in as a major in molecular and cellular biology. And throughout the course of, just my undergraduate studies, I mean, for those first couple years, it was pretty, simple. High school was simple for me.
Yeah.
College, for the most part, was simple. But there were some courses that I encountered that were just very difficult, like general chemistry and physics. Physics in particular, during, I believe, my sophomore first semester,
yes.
I tried to take physics. I think no, my junior first semester, sorry. I took physics 101 or whatever the equivalent to that is, and it just went horribly.
Oh my god.
I got a C in that class, and anybody who's pre-med knows that it's like, oh, you have to get all A's in your science courses and you can't get any C's. And I just remember, you know, at the end of that semester crying like a baby.
Oh my god.
Because I'd gotten a C in that course, I gotten a C in another course in toxicology, some, you know, random science course that I was just taking, you know, to, I guess, better build my portfolio. And that semester went horribly. And I remember just the other day I had this memory, and it actually brought me to tears. At the end of that semester, when I got my transcript and I saw that I'd gotten those 2 C's in my class, it was like the end of the world for me. Like, I remember just collapsing into tears, and the only person who was home was my grandmother.
Oh my god.
And my grandmother does not speak English fluently, and I don't speak Edo fluently, so I couldn't communicate to her while I was crying. All she saw was me sobbing, and I was slumped over in her arms, and she was just holding me, and the only thing she kept saying is Itoha, which is mercy in Edo, and she was just praying for mercy. She didn't know what was going on, but for me it was like the end of the world. It was like, how am I gonna put 2 C's on? You know, so that was where all of the struggles really began. I decided to withdraw from that physics course for the following semester and see if I could take it during the summer, because I heard of a really good physics professor on the northern portion of my campus who was really good at teaching physics. And so I went and took that course, and it did not work out.
Wow. But let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
You know, you took your physics exam, you came out with C. Did you get discouraged at that point in time? Did you say, God, what's going on? You know, I'm planning to go into medical school. My transcript has to look so great with all A's on it. Was there a time that you're like, God, where's your face?
Yes, that time in particular, that was, you know, the first big, you know, obstacle that, you know, I had come across. And I mean, we get so, for lack of a better term, narrow-minded when it comes to the specifics that we need to, I guess, acquire before applying to medical school.
Narrow-minded.
And you know, you just think that it needs to go this way. You have to present as this kind of candidate. And I mean, if I could tell myself back then, hey, everything's going to be okay.
Wow.
I wish I had, you know, known that then, but I had to pick myself up, and I had to find a way to keep going.
Wow.
And, you know, find a way to, I guess, boost my GPA so that the number wouldn't be pulled down by those 2 C's. And for me, at that point, the first thing I learned is, okay, when there's an issue, not to collapse into a ball again, but go into problem solving.
Okay.
You know, there's always a way around.
Absolutely.
You know, and so trying to figure out, all right, what do I do to deal with this issue? If physics right now is my issue, what do I do? And for me, at that time, the solution was find somebody who others have said is really good at conveying, you know, physics as a whole, and who other students have great things to say, because it wasn't about just getting an A, but I needed to understand the material because I would encounter it again during the MCAT. So this person, I was told, was very good at teaching it, but I ran into another obstacle with that.
And what was the obstacle? Is it something? Yes, tell us. Walk us through that obstacle.
It's a very sensitive subject. But what ended up happening was, on the 3rd day of that class, it was on a campus that I was not familiar with. My school had 2 campuses. I was in the downtown campus in Manhattan. This class took place in Pleasantville in Westchester. So I didn't know anybody, didn't know my way around that campus. Would often find myself kind of stranded because I had to, it was quite a commute taking the Metro North up there and then finding my way from the train station to the campus without a driver's license. And so the first day of class, you know, I met a student who helped drop me off to the train station. I think the 2nd or 3rd day of that class, I found myself stranded. I didn't have a ride. I couldn't find a cab or a taxi. I think this was the 2nd day. So the teacher himself offered me a ride to the train station, which I was very grateful for. I was like, okay, wonderful. Now this will be a way that I can get to class and all of that. The 3rd day of that class, this professor said that he needed to pick up some stuff in his office before he could give me a ride to the train station. So he told me to go to his office with him, And, to cut a long story short, he made some advances towards me
Wow.
that I was very uncomfortable with.
And that was your professor.
This was on my third day meeting him, knowing him. I really don't understand. I mean, nowadays, because more stories like that have come out, it's, looking back, it's like, okay, obviously this is something that happens more than people are willing to admit. But in that moment, it was just like another big situation that I had to deal with. Because I had to now, at that point, decide whether or not I can continue on in this class or whether I would have to drop the course, because, I was trying to play it out in my mind how everything could turn out.
And thus physics is one of the requirements for you to get into medical school.
Yes, you need to take this course, and once again, you encounter it again on the MCAT. My mindset was, okay, if I stay in the class because I denied his advances, would he take that out on me on my grade? And then at the end of the course, if I am not, given the grade that I have earned because of this situation, if I start, if I let anybody know what happened at that point, it's going to be like, she's just saying this because she didn't get the grade that she wanted. Another thing was, how do I stay in this class with this person? How do I continue on sitting in this class? There was only about 30 of us with this, man who came at me this way.